So, councillors, I put agenda item CCS 20/007, Bateman's Bay Regional Aquatics Arts and Leisure Centre. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Pollock, seconded by Councillor Brown. Councillors, any questions or debate? Councillor Nathan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like a slight clarification for my own understanding and for the people observing on the webcast. What we are voting for here is to proceed the policy, continue with the process of developing this Arts and Leisure Centre, which has gone on for a long, long time. We are not at this stage voting at all for actually paying out the 26 plus 25 plus 4 that's already listed there. This is simply to go out for tender. Correct? Thank you.
I believe Councillor McGinley was next in line. Councillor Brown. Councillor McGinley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. Just a couple of issues I'd just like to try and clarify. And I have mentioned this to my fellow councillors in briefings. I totally understand the need for any quantum or additional funding that's mentioned within this report to remain confidential. For commercial reasons, to keep the tender process legit. However, I did have some reservations about the fact that the potential sources for the additional funding is being kept confidential. And I was of the view, and basically still am, that we should be able to give some kind of indication to the public as to where this additional funding is coming from. So if I could ask for an explanation from either the General Manager or Director, Appropriate Director. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor. In relation to the sources, obviously councillors are aware of those sources. Because of the quantums involved, we believe that may breach the commerciality of it. And secondly, in relation to the amount, I've just lost my thought then, it must be my last day. No, it's gone. That's right.
You were talking about the different sources?
The different sources, yes. Sorry, I've gone completely blank. I have gone completely blank. How that's a first. Sorry, Catherine.
Would you like me to rephrase it while you gather your thoughts?
Through the Mayor, just to confirm also that it's very carefully worded in terms of the recommendation that currently we are potentially using some sources, but that might change. So under that basis, because we might get different funding from other sources, so rather than then have the community think, oh, well, it's all that bundle of sources, it might be, in fact, changed. So the council needs to keep that in mind when they're having that conversation.
Sorry, if I could just pursue this just a little bit more. That really doesn't explain why the source is confidential. It simply says it could vary. It might be from the ones that we've been advised of, or it might be from other things, but it doesn't say or explain why we're maintaining confidentiality about those sources, not to my mind.
So through the Mayor, the other point is, as discussed, is that if we do nominate those sources and those sources have amounts of money in them which are public in terms of our potential reserves, then one might form a very incorrect view about the amount of funds that are coming from those sources. So that would be, then I think, very misleading for the community and anyone else who might be a tenderer to think, well, this is what is available, when in fact it's not available. So our reserves are in our annual report, and so that would also then be misleading and potentially might impact on the tender price.
Thank you. I guess that's the explanation. If I may, I just also like to make a comment, and it's along the lines that Councillor Nathan was sort of getting at. It's clarifying what we're actually voting on here today. If I vote to accept this recommendation, I would just like confirmation and to make it very, very clear that if I vote yes, this does not mean that I would approve of the funds that are sitting in those unnamed sources being committed to this project, simply that I'm acknowledging that I've been advised that such funds exist, but I am no way endorsing that they be spent on this project.
That is 100% correct, Councillor. If and when that time comes, we will go through it at that time through that process. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, just a follow-up from Councillor Nathan's question regarding that this is a process. The fact is that we will not be going to tender until we have a development application that's been approved. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. I think the community might think that we're jumping the gun, but we're not. This is a process we have to go through because council is required to go through this process, as per was mentioned in the section 211 of the authorised expenditure of local government general regulations 2005. That's what it says. We cannot. This needs to go through this process for us to approve to go out to tender. However, the tender will not be put out to the broader to those people who we've identified until we have a development application approved. So it is a process. It's not jumping the gun. It's not making any decisions in any way other than the process to allow us to actually go out to tender at the appropriate time.
Councillor Nathan.
Can I bring this down to a personal level, as in household budgets, just so that I can get my head around this? If I know that I have got $100 in my bank account, but I also know that it's possible for me to have a loan of $100. I can go into the local shops and see a dress that I might like. And I know that I need a new dress for whatever function. That dress could be $50, $95, $105. $105, I know that I've got the possibility of that $5. So at this stage, from what we're voting on, can I go shopping? Is that a reasonable analogy?
It is your
Councillor
analogy.
Brown, I don't expect you to go shopping for a dress.
Okay, councillors, are there any other questions or debate? I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour? Carried unanimously.